Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm glad everyone's having a great beginning of the week, or at least I hope you are. Yeah, so I'm coming to you from American Micro Podcast. I'm going to do one here by myself tonight. Um, I'm coming from, we're down here in Mexico on an extended vacation, having a pretty good time. I'm doing some recording up in San Diego, so Mexico is just a lot less expensive to live in. Um, but yeah, I wanted to go over some things that um, has been or the major thing that's been a thorn, not some things, but the major thing that's been a thorn in the ability of America to heal as a country. And we a very, how can I say, complex country. We're very ethnically diverse in so many ways, and a lot of those reasons are because we, at some point, you know, helped people come over here for a lot of reasons. But I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to give you, you know, maybe you're tired of hearing the victim card or the race card, but there are no victims here. They're just there's the truth, and then there's the inability to understand what truth is. So let's dig into this. So I want to talk about at least a couple of reasons why Black people do not trust white people. I mean, why is that? So let me give you a little bit of background about me. I'm 64. I'll be 65 in June. I grew up in what I would call the end of the separate but equal era of the United States. I was born in 1959. And I grew up in, by the time I was 8, I understood exactly what this country was about because my mom and dad were born in the 30s, and my dad joined the Army in the early 50s, just as it had been, as it was becoming, I should say, desegregated. Okay. So there were, a lot of situations that a lot of people really don't understand about, children, Black children who grew up in that era of the United States, especially when you were indoctrinated in an extremely white society like I was, right? And my brothers and a lot of my friends were. So we dealt with a lot in the early 60s and the 70s. We dealt with a lot. And, from JFK to Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, the Panthers, Kent State, we saw a lot of really crazy things go on. But mainly, more than that, we just understood what it was like to be Black in America, in the 60s. And it was, we didn't have any, we weren't getting hugs at school. We didn't have any counselors to help us out. I was the oldest of 4 boys. And that's what we went through. That's what I went through. That's what most of my friends went through. If you were a 8-year-old Black kid in 1967, that was the deal. There wasn't any with the you. Yeah, there weren't any. There wasn't anywhere to turn for, reinforcement or anything like that. So let's get into this. So the distrust that some Black people feel towards white people is, like I said, a very complex issue. It's a very complex issue, and it's shaped by historical and contemporary experiences of racial injustice. Let's just be real, okay? While each individual's reasons can vary, here are some of the major historical and social factors that contribute to this mistrust. So let's just start with the absolute real thing that makes all of this you know a hard subject to deal with. It's just, bottom line, it's slavery, right? enslaved people, right? So the forced enslavement of Africans for centuries created a deep legacy of trauma and mistrust, right? I mean, how can you say no to that? Okay. Number two, segregation from the moment you stepped off the ship, if you made it that far, the 1600s, the moment you stepped off of that boat as an African in the Americas or the Caribbean or South Coast or Central America was over, man. It's not like, Africans were coming here with resumes in their hands and or round trip tickets. Like, hey, man, I heard we're gonna get that. No, it wasn't like that, dude. It wasn't like that. Okay. And it wasn't like that for a long, long, long time. Uh, you know, I mean, just think about it. 1800, the 1500s, the Spanish show up in South Carolina with an armada of I think it was about 8 or 9 slaves on the coast of South Carolina. And then you have the 1619 project. But by that time, is the Jim Crow laws after the Civil War institutionalized racial segregation. Like, it was systemically institutionalized and reinforced inequality and division. And we're still dealing with it today, okay? And the only reason we know we're dealing with it is because we can film it now, okay? Number 3, redlining. So we're talking about discriminatory housing practices that prevent Black families from purchasing homes in certain neighborhoods. I know about this because my mom and dad had to fight tooth and nail to get the beautiful house that I grew up in Severn, Maryland, in the quote unquote suburbs. And it's just it's here's the thing. Like, I hear people say things, well, anecdotally. No, dude, this is all of these experiences. Well, all of these are historical. Like, these things really happened. Like, you can't take this away. You can't take history away from people. You can't whitewash history. You can't, oh, little Jimmy's going to be torn apart because he's a little white child and he's not going to know what to do because no, I don't feel sorry for little Jimmy. I don't feel sorry for little Jimmy's. As a matter of fact, I blame little Jimmy's mom and dad for not telling little Jimmy the truth, about who we are as a nation, and when we get to the point where we can have some type of reconciliation, this country, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if all the Black players in the NBA or all the Black players in the NFL or all the Black actresses and actors or the Black doctors. We had a Black president. It doesn't matter, dude. We know what this country's about. I would say 98% of America. No, maybe not that many. Let's just say 85% of Americans know what this country's about. Silence is compliance. When you're not trying to even let's just say you know what's going on and you understand the truth, but you're not saying anything about it. It's not a good thing. Another huge thing in this country is mass incarceration, right? The criminal justice system has been disproportionately unkind to Black men and women, especially Black men. You have to understand when President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act in the 60s, or I think it was 64 and 65, when he did not run for president for a second term and Richard Nixon became president, Richard Nixon and Lee Atwater implemented something called the Southern Strategy, which basically went after and made boogeymen out of Black men and white long-haired hippie types. But what they did with Black individuals and Black neighborhoods is they dropped substances, illegal substances, heroin, everything. You know, if they knew what they were doing, you know, it was a systemic situation, and it's been that way forever, right? It's just not something that people want to talk about or deal with. But you know, that's what happened. So yeah, you know, we understand that economically. Number 8, did I say 7 or 8? Anyways, number 8, economic disparities, systemic barriers have led to significant wealth and income gaps. And I know this because I worked in corporate America for, God, almost 34 years as an account manager for tech companies. And so I've seen some crazy stuff. And I was in the military, which is also a corporation. Okay. So yeah, I've seen some bias, right? Now, one of the big things that really persists in this country is like the cultural stereotypes of Black men and women. You know, the sexualization of Black men and women. You know, oh wow, you know, you're tall, I bet you play basketball, or wow, all Black people can dance, or man, you know, just all the, well, we can, but anyways, all the stuff that just, I mean, we're different shapes, sizes, colors, you know, we have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to more than we let on. And now, you know, at this point in time, we're just, Black people are just done, man. Voter suppression. Even now, I mean, even now, you know, it's 2024. Even now, I mean, efforts to restrict Black voting rights throughout the country is, I mean, especially this, man, it's just mind blowing. But it's real. You know what I'm saying? Just microaggressions, number 12. Just daily interactions that subtly demean or discriminate against Black people. You know, like I could just, there's so many. Just the New York governor, these Black kids don't even know what a computer is. Just like, whatever, dude, whatever. Anyways, that's just part of the story. We are going to be talking about we're going to be digging into the reasons why Black people have a major distrust of white people. We're going to be at this for a while. So I wish you all the best. It's May the 13th of 2024. Please hit the subscribe button, and you know, if you have any questions, if you want to come up and have a conversation, just let me know, and I would love to talk to you. All right, you guys take care.